He told me that I did not get hit in the face much.
The Dallas Cowboys have won 11 consecutive games. That is the longest winning streak in franchise history, and the Vikings fall to 6-6.
So ho-hum, another win for the Cowboys. They are now 11-1 after beating the Vikings last night. Will Kane here to help give us some perspective. How you doing?
I'm glad to be here. I didn't get to watch the top of the show. What kind of nonsense? I can guess. Whatever will go wrong, whatever can go wrong will eventually go wrong. Something like that.
There was a little accident waiting to happen.
Yeah. Maybe, the Cowboys got lucky. Something like that as well.
That might have been the first question.
Oh. Well, I would like to take a moment to say to Will, I love how Tony Romo's looking. I mean, he looks fabulous. I mean, what is he throwing for? About 2,000 yards already? I mean, it's really special to see what he's doing since you told us he would be there. Really nice. He looks great. He looks fabulous.
I'm not going to get pulled off sides here. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with you. There seemed to be, Molly, some general consensus on Twitter that I got a little beat up last time I was here by the two of you. So I'm going to do better today. I'm not going to be pulled off sides by nonsense like that.
Now, Will, you did fine until you said that Tony Romo's not chronically hurt. And then said it was only 3 of the last 4 years. Other than that,
we won't live in the past.
Max, who said he did fine? He didn't do fine.
He
got beat up. He walked off the set. He wouldn't admit he got beat up.
Doing this, Molly.
And then walked off the set.
Doing this.
All right.
11-1, Molly.
Let's stay focused. We have more issues with the officiating, though, in the NFL last night. On the potential game-tying play of the game, Sam Bradford was swiped in the face by Cowboys defensive tackle Cedric Thornton as he threw an incomplete pass on a 2-point conversion. No penalty was called on the play. When Bradford was asked what explanation officials had given him for the non-call, the quarterback said, "He told me that I did not get hit in the face mask." No, Max, let's start with you. Should Bradford have gotten the call?
Yeah, of course he should have gotten the call. But even then, as I said, first of all, the offside wasn't called, right? The false start wasn't called. And so that would have offset anyway. So you need a little luck there. And then absolutely that should have been called. But even then, you're not guaranteed the 2-point conversion. And even if you get that, you're only tied against a team that's better than you are. You're likely to lose still. So, yes, he should have gotten the call. That was a lucky break for the Cowboys. And no, it probably didn't affect the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge amount of belly aching about a play that was really not that consequential to the outcome of the game. I mean, Sam Bradford was throwing that ball high through the back of the end zone before that hit occurred. You know, maybe Thornton's hands were in his face, but the actual hit, the actual penalty part of it didn't affect the play. And if we're going to play this game, I love the morning after quarterbacking of let's get officiating perfect. Let's get that call perfect. Well, on the very same play, I think I saw this on Twitter. You must have pointed this out, Max. The Vikings were false start on that very same play. So if we're going to get it perfect, let's get it all the way perfect. Let's also review the holding call, the very suspect holding call on Zeke's 42-yard run. The clipping call on Gavin Escobar when he fell down. The illegal hands to the face on the Cowboys interception where the tight end lifts Orlando Scandrick's arm up to his face. That was an interesting call as well. So if we're going to get it right, let's get them all right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I appreciate, Will, your sentiments. I mean, I love how you articulate and, chronicle all of those different things that ultimately could have favored the Cowboys, but you left out the touchdown pass that Kyle Rudolph dropped, or you left down the other pass down the right sideline that could have very well led to a touchdown that Kyle Rudolph also didn't reel in. I love how you forget those little elements there because it doesn't fit your narrative. I totally understand. It's the politician that you are. Very, very well, I might add. But in the end, what it comes down to is that your Cowboys were still very, very lucky. The offense proved to be pedestrian against an elite defense. The defense showed up against a non-offense, as far as I'm concerned, that didn't have Adrian Peterson, that didn't have 2 starters on its offensive line, that had a tight end that used to be great, that's dropping passes, that has a receiver that's still not healthy. I mean, all of these things are things that you want to ignore, but it's okay. I understand.
The Cowboys got lucky last night. That's Stephen A's proposition.
Yes, they did.
That's your proposition.
That's right.
This was
not that they were lucky because of who they were playing. They were lucky because of who they were playing. Because we all know, I picked the Cowboys to win last night's game because we knew they were playing a team with no offense in Minnesota who proved they don't have an offense.
That was the unluckiest game the Cowboys have played all year. By the way, as long as they're going down the rabbit hole of penalties that weren't called. Dak was hit in the face on a play very similar to Bradford's, right in the face mask earlier in the game, wasn't called. Zeke, a guy who doesn't fumble. How do I know it? I have the video. I go to my Twitter feed. You should follow me. Check it out.
I didn't see this. Where did you find this? I didn't see this.
I watched the game. Did you watch the game? Did you watch the game?
Yes, I did. I watch every game.
I watched the game.
Yes, I do. Yes, you sure you did? You sure?
Zeke fumbled. Zeke never fumbles. Lucky Whitehead fumbled. This was a game where Zach threw for 139 yards all around. This is the kind of game that winners win. When you're at your worst, when you get bad breaks, when you get bad calls, at the end of the game, it's 17-15. An 11-1 team wins games like this when they have to. Not every game. Not every game is going to be a blowout of, I don't know, the Packers. Not every game is going to be a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers when you need to put up more than 30 points. Sometimes you win like this.
Will they be lost? It'd be nice to lose again to the Giants. Here's the thing about luck as it relates to the Cowboys. Every team has to get lucky to have the record the Cowboys have, but they also have the best point differential in the NFL, which means they are, in addition to a little lucky, which is why they only have one loss, actually very good. In fact, the best in the league throughout the course of the season. Yes, they got lucky on some calls last night, particularly the last one against Bradford.
Yeah.
No, it probably didn't make a difference in the game. And Stephen A., in spite of what you say about the Minnesota offense, they just went on the road against a very good home team with an excellent defense and won.
Yep. All right, we'll leave it there. The face mask should have been called, but you know this better than anyone. Don't leave it in the hands of the judges, and that's what they did. So it wasn't pretty, but the Cowboys extended their win streak to 11 games, according to 538.com. They have a 95% chance to win the NFC East, a 94% chance to get a first-round bye in the playoffs, and a 19% chance.
They're really stepping out on a limb there.
To win it all.
Right.
Stephen A., you're the best. I want to start with you. Do you think the Cowboys are a lock to make the Super Bowl this year? Seriously.
This will be.
Take the hate away. Seriously.
Leave the hate in. Don't listen to her.
Do I think the Cowboys have how much? The 19% chance?
Are they a lock? Do you think they're a lock to go to the Super Bowl
To go
this
to the
year?
Super Bowl.
A lock to go to the Super Bowl? I mean, I'm leaning towards a lock not going to the Super Bowl. I don't believe the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. How could you even ask me that question? The blasphemy. I mean, you got to be crazy. I don't think the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. I'm not sold on it by one shot. I think Seattle's got a shot. I think Atlanta's got a shot. I think the New York Giants and the Redskins got a shot to knock them off, especially the Redskins, because I don't see the Cowboys beating them 3 times in one season. I definitely think that the Cowboys ain't going to the Super Bowl. I don't see that. A lot to go.
Let me explain.
You got to be crazy.
Let me explain to you what a weak prediction sounds like. Okay, let me explain to you how someone goes about making a spineless prediction and making it sound bold by saying something like, I think the Cowboys are a lock not to go to the Super Bowl. Oh, so you took the field. You took what is it? That's 16 teams in the NFC that you're giving a chance over the Cowboys. I get 1. I get the Cowboys. You get the
4.
rest.
I didn't mention 16.
I
mentioned 4.
By the way,
do your math.
Let me tell you,
do your math. That's number 1. I mentioned 4 teams. I did not mention everybody. That's number 1. Number 2, I've been saying it all year.
You didn't predict them
all year.
And by the way, you didn't predict them to beat the Cowboys. You gave them a chance. You said, I think they have a chance to beat the Cowboys. That's not going anywhere with the prediction.
It depends on who they're playing. I believe that Seattle will beat them. I do believe that. I believe that Seattle would beat them, and I believe that the Redskins would beat them. Not sure about the Giants or the Falcons, but I would pick the Redskins or the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Cowboys.
The Redskins, the team that they swept this season. The Redskins, the one they've beaten twice already.
Stephen A. Smith, I got
Do you
some
not know
bad
any
news.
history about the NFC? Do
Let
you
me
not know
explain
any
to you
history about the
something
NFC? How difficult it is? Go ahead.
This is why the Cowboys are the prohibitive favorite. Lock is an absurd prediction to make. This is why if you're putting money on something, you put your money on the Cowboys. They've beaten every type of team out there. I can't find a team or a roster that you can look at and say, this is the team.
Patriots.
We'll get to this craziness in a minute.
Playing next week. They already beat them once.
They have beat the top defenses in the league, and the Vikings, the Packers, the Steelers. They have beaten the top offenses, some of the most explosive offenses in the league, in the Steelers and the Redskins. There is no team that puts them up.
Hold on.
There's no team.
Listen.
Max, let me finish this point.
Go ahead.
There is no team
I gotta give you the answer.
that has both.
All right,
there is no team that has a top offense and a top defense outside of the Cowboys, by the way. Not the Seahawks. They're one of the lower-rated offenses in the NFL.
They don't have a top defense. They have maybe an underrated defense at this point. They can't get pressure with the front 4 if they have an Achilles heel. That's it. Here is the answer. And you'll like this, and Stephen A. Smith, you will not. First of all, something that you won't like. The fact is the Cowboys haven't had a killer schedule. They've had at best an average schedule. I think a little under. I think they've actually had a slightly soft schedule. That's probably helped them. However, given the entirety of the year, at this moment you have to say, so far this season, the Cowboys have been the best team in football. So the question is, how often does the best team in football go to the Super Bowl, right? And I was expecting to see the team that ended with the best point differential didn't go to the Super Bowl a lot of years. But in fact, the last time that's happened was 2012. Now you got, so there's 6 teams, 1 from each conference who can go. Since 2012, the best point differential comes out of one conference to the other, goes to the Super Bowl. It's actually the exception, not the rule when they don't. Are they a lock to make the Super Bowl? Of course not. It's the NFL. Best team doesn't always win. It's a one-and-done tournament. And there is luck involved. There is. But the odds are looking pretty good for the Cowboys right now to get there. I agree with you, Stephen A. The Seattle Seahawks, I would pick over them if push came to shove, but that may be my hopes talking and not my head. The Cowboys, just from looking at it as objectively as possible, they're the odds-on favorite to get there. And that doesn't mean against the whole field they are better than 50-50, but they're the odds-on favorite to get there.
Well, I said earlier in the show that back in 2007, the Dallas Cowboys were 12-1 before losing to the Eagles in the regular season, but also they lost in the playoffs to the New York Giants, an NFC East foe. Particularly when you're rolling like that, is the most dangerous because they know you the best. And for some inexplicable reason, no matter how bad the teams are, it's always a highly contested matchup that can go either way. If the Dallas Cowboys were losing a couple of games and they were battling back and forth all year long, that would be one thing. But to be on this kind of roll, the pressure will only elevate, and I believe that will work against them at the right time for somebody like myself.
So by the way, you would be one of these people that suggest it's better for the Cowboys to go ahead and lose a game to disrupt this streak, to lessen the pressure?
I don't even think about them that way because I'm always happy whenever the Cowboys lose. So it doesn't really matter to me.
So
when it happens, so long as it happens. But I'm saying to you that I believe that the Cowboys are not going to the Super Bowl. So that's where I'm at. Anything that happens in the midst of all of that, so what? I could care less.
The bottom line is it's just a bad bet to bet against the Cowboys. It's an extremely bad bet. They have beaten, as I said, teams in every way possible. They've beaten explosive offenses. They've beaten dominant defenses. They have won ugly like last night. They've won dominating like they did against Green Bay. They have won every way possible with a rookie quarterback. Getting better, except for last night. He didn't play his best game yet, but he won once again. This is a bad bet to bet against the Cowboys at this point. Now, I agree the team with the best chance is Seattle. That is the best chance. But there's no objective metric that says to you that you should take Seattle over the Cowboys. There's no eyeball test that says you should take Seattle over the Cowboys. And Molly, the team you point to, the New England Patriots, would be, once you're in the Super Bowl, or once you take the entire NFL into account, the team with the best chance to beat the Cowboys. But at this point, by the way, that's right. At this point, New England as well. You have to put as an underdog to the Cowboys without Gronkowski.
It's like a slow-moving nightmare. It reminds me of something that happened in our politics recently. This is like a slow-moving nightmare. The Cowboys.
That's because you're not a believer. It's okay. Listen, let the Cowboys enjoy their moments. Let them have the Will Canes on the air, bloviating about their greatness and how their potential invincibility. Have a ball, because that's going to make the fall that much more sweeter for me. I am not concerned.
Something will go wrong.
I'm not worried.
Right.
We will see. I've said it for years. Well, you can sit there and say the argument is weak. I've said it for years. And what has happened for years?
You've said it for years.
I'm batting 1,000 over the last 21 years.
No, I'm sorry. You've been saying it for 11 straight weeks. I'd say you're batting 0. You're 0-11 this season.
How can that be the case? How can that be the case when I picked the Cowboys to win the division before the season began, and I picked them to win last night? All I'm saying is that they're not winning the Super Bowl. That's all I care about.
31
That's
teams.
all I care about.
31 teams will satisfy that bold prediction
Listen,
to end the season on a loss.
At the end of the day, that I don't have to worry about Cowboy fans like you. That's all I care about.
Well, you didn't see it earlier in the show, but Darren Woodson, who knows the Cowboys well, said actually the Washington Redskins will be the toughest matchup for them. You will be back with us a little bit later in the show.